Now batting for the Reds, number 44, the shortstop, Ellie De La Cruz.
Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. That's Ricky. I'm Roger. It is Sunday at 8 p.m.-ish, and we are live, and we are here to talk about Reds. We would like to first and foremost thank you for tuning in to this podcast. We talk about the Reds, all sorts of things. Today, we're going to be talking about arbitration deals that happened this week, some news, some guys got signed, some different news that happened with the TV deal and whatnot. So lots of Red stuff in this offseason. Oh, yeah, and Reds Fest is coming up this weekend. So we're going to preview that a little bit as well. But before all that, Ricky, how was your week?
It was okay. It was a week. Got a little busy with all the stuff we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But other than that, not too bad. How about you?
Yeah, Ricky, you were busy posting about all the arbitration deals that got made to avoid arbitration, I should say, for the Redlegs and whatnot. My week was all right. It was getting back to normalcy, right? Like we're, a couple weeks out from Christmas and whatnot, full week of school, full week of daycare, etc. So it was kind of like getting back into a normal routine. And then all of a sudden, we'll see how this week goes because then, I got a lot of things going on. We got possibly to tease something out. We got coming out Tuesday, or we're going to be doing something Tuesday. Probably put it out Wednesday. An interview with the Reds prospect. So we got a busy week ourselves. I plan on going to Reds Fest on Friday and checking out all the things there. I hear that a certain birthday boy is going to be at Reds Fest this weekend, so that'll be great to talk about as well and see, hopefully in the flesh. Ellie De La Cruz, that is his birthday today. Happy birthday, Ellie. We could talk about him a little bit as well, Ricky, if you want. I know we didn't put that in the show notes, but you put out a great post out there that got a lot of traction about Ellie's top 10 farthest home runs. So that was pretty special. You got anything on Ellie at the moment?
Yeah, so I was kind of doing some digging. Just you know how Red's Facebook is with Ellie. He's no matter what he does, he's never good enough. He never makes them happy. So if you look at, and this is kind of like forbidden territory here, so forgive me. You look at Shohei Ohtani's first 3 years. Granted, he came over from Japan, but he was 23, I believe, when he debuted.
Okay, yeah.
Age 23 through 26. He had, 47 home runs, a 125 OPS plus, 262 strikeouts. I'm gonna find out this for sure to get it right. But granted, Ellie had more home runs than Shohei Ohtani in her first 3 years, and Ellie's only played 2.5. So there's that. And I get it, the Shohei factor of pitching and all that stuff, which is phenomenal. What he does is otherworldly in baseball. Like it's not, you can't compare it to anything else other than Babe Ruth. And but like for Ellie, he just doesn't get enough credit for what he's done for the Reds in 2.5 years. And you don't know what you have until it's gone, and it's gonna be gone. Yeah, it feels like it's trending that way eventually.
Yeah, that's the sad part. Yeah, the next year of arbitration, and we'll talk about the arbitration of this year, is going to be interesting. We saw an example of some extreme difference of opinion in terms of Tarek Skubal having a $32 million offering that he thought he would get from the Tigers, and the Tigers said, no, I think $19 million is more appropriate. That might be the Reds' future, possibly in the next couple of years. That being said, also there was that stat that I threw at you last week, Ricky, that on January 4th, 2026, Ellie was 23 years old and 358 days old, which is the same age that Votto was when he made his debut, more or less. Votto was a day older, by the way. But anyway, neither here nor there. That being said, I forgot to mention, in those 2.5 years, he's got 2 All-Star appearances. He's led the team in WAR for the last 2 years. He's led the team in basically home runs and RBIs and extra base hits for the last 2 years. There's a lot put on his shoulders. He played through an injury this year, and that decision maybe should have been taken out of his hands so that he could recover to be 100% Ellie.
There's a lot of blame on both sides for that.
Yeah, but either way, he played. He did. He's the best shortstop we could put out there, obviously, for this current iteration of the team, and he's got to be the guy next year again. Basically, right? Yeah. Like that's basically the thing, is the expectations, because he is the guy. Like Spencer Steer never gets the expectations of he has to be the guy that gets the MVP votes. But if he has a better cast around him to help him, then that eases the burden maybe for Ellie, and maybe he doesn't have to have that sharp criticism every single time that he goes out there and makes an error. I don't know. Neither here nor there. Yeah. Happy birthday, Ellie.
Happy birthday, Ellie. Feliz cumpleaños.
Yeah, he is the man on this team. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Same thing on the other side for pitching as Hunter, right? Hunter kind of gets that same sharp criticism. If he does
never good enough, no matter what he does.
He was the phenom that was on the Sports Illustrated cover as a 17-year-old for his high school. Like a lot of weight of expectation on those guys, right? Like it could be unfair, but at the same time, both of those guys have been playing well recently, and we'll have probably, hopefully, great 2026s, which will help this team get back into playoffs and be successful again. But
yeah, so the numbers that I have Ohtani's first, let's just say it'll be 2.5 years because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
So 47 home runs, 47 doubles, 7 triples, 29 stolen bases, 262 strikeouts, an 843 OPS, a 125 OPS plus. And when you go to Ellie in that same time frame, he has let's see, he's got a lot more strikeouts. Granted, it's Ellie we're talking about here. 543 strikeouts over his first 2.5 seasons. He's got 139 stolen bases, 60 home runs, 82 doubles, 24 triples, and an OPS plus of 107. So you take the awful stretch he had in 2023, where people kind of figured him out per se, and then the awful stretch he had this past season for the last 2 months, he's still 7% better than league average as a hitter. It's not great, but those stretches that he had were atrocious. So it's like, I'll take this, that 24 triples. I mean, when's the last time you've seen a Red have that many triples over the course of nearly 3 seasons?
No, I think of. And the other stat that I like about Ohtani that I think we've talked about in the show as well is Ohtani has the 2 highest season totals of an MVP of all time. This is a guy, Ohtani, in 2021 struck out 189 times, and just last year when he won the MVP for the Dodgers, struck out 187 times. Modern baseball is a lot about strikeouts. So, like, anytime that everyone brings up Ellie's strikeouts, I think that's not necessarily – it's not the strongest argument because everyone's doing it, even Ohtani. The thing that I guess Ellie has to do is every time he is up to bat, he has to be productive, right? It can't be in a situation that you bring up all the time. We got a runner on third with no outs or less than 2 outs. We don't do anything with it, right? And Ellie has been Ellie's been kind of the perpetrator of, striking out all or nothing on that situation, right? If he could be productive like Ohtani, who's super productive, extra base hits all the time, and well, if he had somebody behind him, if Ellie had someone behind him like a Freddie Freeman, maybe he'd be getting walked a little bit more. But neither here nor there. The point of it is that Ohtani is striking out just as much, and Ellie has been reducing his strikeouts the last 2 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was on pace this season to cut it down by like 15% up until he had that just awful stretch. So Otani has had 140 or more strikeouts every year since 2021. And he had 187, like you said, this past year, 162 in 24, 143 in 2023, 161 in 22, and 189 in 21, 110 in 19, and 102 in 2018. So he actually struck out less as a younger hitter, but his OPS plus has been the tops in baseball the last 3 years. He's been the top hitter in all of baseball since 2023. Like I can't say enough about Shohei Ohtani.
And the other side of Ohtani is that he's a full-time DH, so he's not making the errors in the field that Ellie is. That opens up the criticism for that aspect.
Yeah, and he's pitching once every 5 days.
Yeah, this is not an apologist podcast for Ellie completely. He has room to grow. He has things to work on and whatnot. But
we're homers. We're going to defend him.
The trajectory, though. The trajectory.
Oh, yeah. I mean, his trajectory is insane.
Is Barry Bonds like? Is Ohtani like? To say the least, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could say Ellie's potential is like Bonds, Griffey, like that tier of player, but we've never seen that tier of player as a shortstop. Like it's just
A-Rod.
Yeah, but 2-time PED champion.
Yeah, well, it helps.
It helped a little bit.
I was talking about Seattle A-Rod.
Too,
yeah, before Texas A-Rod, the Seattle A-Rod.
Yeah.
Like young Barry Bonds.
Hey, Pirates Barry Bonds was if he played his whole career, Pirates Barry Bonds, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt.
Yeah, in fact, that's what they should do. If we want to get like nitpicky, induct Pittsburgh Pirates Barry Bonds and don't induct.
Yeah, just put it from 1982 to 1994.
Yeah,
just leave.
Just have him have a Pirates hat on, and then there's no confusion.
It's just like for Pete, man. You could have just had Pete as the player, Pete Rose, and banned the manager, Pete Rose. That's all you had to do.
There you go. We solved baseball. We fixed baseball, Ricky.
They make it so complicated. I don't know. It's really not that hard.
Yeah, we could talk about baseball making itself complicated with the TV deal later, but
I do have a post coming out tomorrow about Barry Bonds, and I feel like it's going to trigger some people. But let's continue.
Okay, no spoilers. No spoilers. Stay tuned for that. The guy that is going to Reds Fest, as it's been confirmed, the guy we've just been talking about for the last 10 minutes, Mr. Ellie Antonio De La Cruz, was confirmed. There was some little drama, not unlike the World Baseball Classic drama that happened as well. He is confirmed for Reds Fest. He will be there per all the posts from the Reds official site on X and whatnot. And it's going to be a good time because there's going to be a lot of guys there. There'll be Bronson Arroyo, the mayor will be there. Like all these guys that come back for Reds Fest. Marty Brenneman will be there for his poker tournament and whatnot. Should be a good time. It has definitely been a long time. I feel December 2023. It's not technically 3 years, but it feels like it's 3 years. It's 2 and 2 months years since they've had Reds Fest. And I don't know. I'm going to be there Friday. I think a bunch of other guys that follow us and like our stuff will be there as well. So I'll try to get some exclusive content and whatnot. Is there anything, Ricky, that from Reds Fest that stood out to you? Any ideas or any of the players that are going to be there that stood out?
I like some of the alumni that's coming back. Sean Casey's going to be there Friday, I think. Mm-hmm. Danny Graves is going to be there Saturday. Austin Kearns is going to be there Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Devin Mesoraco and Tucker Barnhart both are going to be there. So it's kind of like the passing of the torch catchers. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Can we just talk about Mesoraco for a minute? Had he not hurt himself with the hip injury, I don't know. We're talking far better than Tyler Stevenson as a catcher.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, how many home runs did he have that year?
Oh, it was in the 30s, nearly 40, 39, I want to say, or am I thinking of somebody else?
For all the injuries he had, he's still a 4.5 WAR player.
Mm.
So he had 25 in 2014.
Okay.
He had a 147 OPS plus.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
273, 893 OPS. Yeah, I can. What could have been with Devin Mesoraco, it's a shame. He was an all-star that year too. Um, it sucks, It's because he got the extension. I wonder if that's maybe one of the reasons the Reds have been so scared about Stevenson, because they extended him and then he had the hip injury, and then he never played more than 80 games the rest of his career after 2014.
Yeah, I think I've said that in this show as well. I feel like we're repeating ourselves. We're like old broken records. But I think catchers are the running backs of MLB. They you can get them cheap. You can get them at like market value, not have to like overspend on them and whatnot. But unfortunately, because of the difficult physical nature of the position, of squatting and having to throw and having to, you don't have to block as much. Luckily, with all the new rules, which hopefully means some guys will have longer careers, than past guys. You know what I mean? What was the guy for San Francisco who got concussions all the time that now is their front office? What's his name?
Buster Posey.
Buster Posey. You know what I mean? Hopefully guys like that will have longer careers because of the new rules around the plate and whatnot. Neither here nor there. The point is, it's still a difficult position. You're catching 100 miles per hour with your hand and just a glove in between. So I would not be surprised. You said it, and I don't know if necessarily your insider antenna went up, Ricky, because that sounded like something that the Reds front office would say. It'd be like, hey, we're thinking about extending Tyler Stevenson. And then someone in the meeting room says, well, what about Devin Mesoraco and what happened there in 2014 or whatever? So, yeah, and it also makes sense because they're not giving him the money that he's asking for in arbitration, which we'll get to in a little bit because that's a thing unto itself. And
yeah,
it hopefully won't be ugly. And I think I might even texted you or we talked about it last show. Like, when was the last time they had like an ugly arbitration thing? And Gino Suarez came up. I looked up in 2018, I believe. And then Lucas Sim, I guess, had one in 2021 where they had an arbitration go to the hearing. So
it's rare.
Yeah, you don't want to try to make your employees upset by telling them they're worthless in a meeting.
Hey, you're only worth this much to us, pal.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how, like a TJ Frito feels at this point. But anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. I'm kind of excited. Tito's going to be there as well. Our guy, Willie Harris.
Don't they got that poker tournament too?
Yeah, that's the one that Marty Brenneman runs. And he that's basically what he shows up for. He shows up and kind of runs the poker tournament. I think he plays probably as well, just to get a little star factor. You think Tito's going to be around the table as well?
I'm sure he's really sure. We know he likes to gamble. So
all right. Willie Harris, our Ryan McChrystal's ex-coach, would be there. It would be awesome. A new third base coach. That'd be cool to see him. 2005 White Sox World Series winner. So shout out to him. Mike Napoli would be there as well. A
lot of these guys is their first Reds Fest too. So that's cool.
Yeah, it is a bit disappointing that the prospects that they got were none of the guys that we're close with, unfortunately. But we got some big time names: Jay Allen, Cam Collier, Alfredo Janot, our guy Luke Hayden down in Dayton, Carlos Jorge, Arnaldo Lantigua will be there. Tyson Lewis, who I heard did an interview with Greg, right? So shout out to him. Nestor Laurent, Mason Morris. And then Mason Neville, and then also JP Ortiz. Like a lot of guys that are really in our top 30, right? In our top 30 top prospects. So it'd be kind of cool to see that and those guys be out there. I'll try to get a couple pictures and talk to a couple of them. It'd be nice to run into Jano and
pass out some stickers.
Guys. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I got some right here over here somewhere. So
you're gonna be our guy this week.
yeah. I gotta expand the brand and whatnot. So. And then, even Jim Day will be there. Tommy Thrall, it would be cool to meet him as well.
Hey, and tell them to come on the show. They have podcasts too,
yeah, they're busy guys. So, but yeah, it should be a good time. Oh, you got Todd Frazier will be there. The Todd father.
Yeah, the Todd father.
But yeah, it should be a good time. It's kind of like a Reds party, to say the least. From the last time I went in 2023, just a bunch of Reds fans just nerding out over Red stuff and. Some people having there with their booths to sell stuff and advertise stuff and whatnot, memorabilia, jerseys,
red stickers.
Yeah, I'll have to give those away for free. I don't think I can sell those out.
No, we're just passing them bad boys out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hopefully, we won't get in trouble with any of the security guards and whatnot.
Sundays and Wednesdays. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anything else you got on Reds Fest 2026?
No, I guess, the last thing I wanted to talk about with Mesoraco, his best season was his age 26 season, which was his fourth season as a major league player. So if you go to Tyler Stevenson and go to his fourth season, would have been 2023. It was an awful year. We all know he had the injury the year prior with the broken collarbone or whatever.
Yeah.
I think he had a concussion too, if I remember right.
It sounds right.
But Stevenson's best 2 seasons were 2021. He played in 132 games. And then 2024, he played in 138 games. Granted, he played more games in 2023. We talk about Francona with Ellie, we were throwing out Tyler Stevenson batting $140 for a long time.
Yeah.
Playing first base because he couldn't catch, carrying 3 catchers, and he wasn't hitting. Yeah. But if you take Stevenson, let's just say 2024, right? His best season, which would have been his 5th season.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been 27. Mesoraco was 26. So that's comparable, right? Stevenson was a 2.4 WAR with a 112 OPS plus, his second highest of his, I guess excluding his 2020 season, his second highest of his career. And he hit 19 home runs with a 782 OPS. You go to Mesoraco, like I said earlier, 273, 893 OPS, a 147 OPS plus, which passes every year of Tyler Stevenson's career, and the 25 home runs, which is a career high for both players. So, yeah. I don't know what's going on. Like, I wished I had some sense of why we're not trying to push for at least like a 2 or 3 year extension with Stevenson, because he's a free agent after this year. Yeah. I believe 2026 offseason.
Yep. Yeah, and he lines up right with that CBA cutting off.
It's not like Alfredo Duno is going to be up next year or even possibly the year after. I mean, there's a chance. I'm never going to rule it out because Duno could start in Double-A this year, for all we know. Yeah. He's projected to start in Dayton, but there's a chance he goes to Chattanooga, and that just bumps him up a year. Maybe they're seeing that, and that's why they played Duno in the fall league this past fall and not this coming fall. And I don't know. Are we going to rely on a 36-year-old Trevino? And what's the catcher from the Dodgers we got?
Rortfeld.
Who knows? Maybe that's their plan. I don't know.
Yeah, at the very least, I think they see Rortfeld as like an insurance policy. Like a lot of the signings that we're going to kind of talk about for depth that happened this past week and whatnot. The Stevenson question is interesting. We've been talking about it for a while. I feel like we hit on this every time we talk about Stevenson. Because his 6 years of control line up right with the CBA, I wouldn't be surprised if the Reds figure out, like, hey, we're just going to see what the new CBA looks like, the new potential rules around, contracts and whatnot, and maybe a salary cap, maybe something that resembles a salary cap, maybe something where there's like, the funny thing about like our article that kind of launched this podcast about the salary cap potential is that they have a luxury tax. And I don't know if you know this, but like in basketball, they did that too. They have a luxury tax. But the problem was the Golden State Warriors in 2022 blew way past that luxury tax to get all these, really expensive players to win the NBA finals, that they added a second luxury tax to the NBA because of what the Golden State Warriors did in 2022. That could be the reality of baseball, is that they see the Dodgers, they see the Yankees that will gladly spend in the luxury tax because their owners are that rich that they'll add possibly a second layer That's just a guess. I don't know. I'm no reporting behind this, not an insider. A second layer to make it even stricter and more penalized for going that far into the salary, aprons, I think is what they call in basketball. What they call in baseball, the salary excise tax or the or whatever it is. But you know what I mean? Like they might just add on to it. But that's just a random guess right here on January 11th, 2026. We're still 11 months away from that CBA expiring, So
we're 358 days or something like that away. What's it, December 6th?
December 1st.
December 1st.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's right after basically the World Series and everyone's getting into a little bit of free agency and the hot stove and whatnot. Is basically what's anticipated is baseball shut down, but we will see. I don't know. This is the year where we're going to hear a lot of wild reports from, insiders saying, oh, this GM and this owner is saying this, and that. And the players union and Tony Clark are saying this, and that. So we'll see. I don't know. It'll be an interesting year.
I think what worries me is like the last time things got this heated about a salary cap, there was a strike. And I don't think there will be. I know we talked about it a little bit when we talked about the Expos documentary, but there's got to be like a thought, like could they? I don't think so, but yeah, it's like I get it from a player's perspective. You don't want to be capped on how much money you make. Like I understand that. But then as like a fan in a business, like you can't rely on 4 teams, 5 teams essentially making up who could win it all every year. I think that's what made baseball so great throughout the history of the game up until the last 20 years. It's like the Pirates won a World Series. The Reds had the big red machine. Yeah, the Yankees had their dynasty, But that's what made baseball cool.
Yeah.
Like the Red Sox had the curse. The Cubs had the curse. These big market. Like, I don't remember how long it was, but wasn't there like a pretty lengthy amount of time the Dodgers didn't win a World Series?
Yeah, they were good in the 80s. So it was about 40 years or so.
Yeah. So like it felt like up until the market changed where like money became so extravagant for all these players. Like I remember, was it A-Rod was the first $200 million player, I think, in the early 2000s with the Rangers?
300. I think it was like a 10-year 300.
I think he was also the first 300 million. I think he had a $200 million contract with the Rangers. I'm not. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But so like, I remember when Votto signed his contract in 2012, right?
Yep.
Like the Reds spent $275 million on one player. We can't even fathom $175 million on one player for the Reds. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like parity's just gone. Like every once in a while, you'll get that one team like the Royals who just happen to develop players at the right time. You get a generational catcher in Salvador Perez. You get a couple good pitchers. I think Greinke was on that team, or was he?
He was around then, I want to say.
He was in that era.
Yeah.
And, they go out and they make the splash to get rid of 3 top prospects, go out and get Johnny Cueto, and they go win the World Series. And I don't know. Tampa kind of is like the closest team we've had to doing that in the last 10 years. And, they came up short in 2020 against the Dodgers, and 2009 against the Phillies.
Yep.
Like, it's, I don't know. I could keep going. I'm going on a tangent.
Yeah, for sure. And just to fact check, it was 10 years, $252 million, the Rangers contract for A-Rod back in 2000. 26 years ago. But yeah, baseball still is the most random sport where like
anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. It's kind of a bounce of a ball. It's kind of like who comes up at the play at the right time. I mean, the Dodgers kind of benefited from that. A guy like Ohtani didn't win the World Series for them. The guy that saved their World Series was what's his name, the shortstop. from the Marlins. Oh, what is his name? Miguel Rojas. Like, it's just random. That guy is not going to be a Hall of Famer any which way you slice it. But that wins them the World Series because the randomness of the game can put these guys in positions to win. Like, when you see like the World Series MVPs of like the last 15 years, they're not like automatic lock Hall of Famers, most of them. They're just guys that had a great series and won the World Series. And that's not necessarily taking anything away from them as baseball players. I'm just saying that it's not like basketball where like the guy has the ball in his hand the whole time offensively and he can dictate the whole game. Or like football, the quarterback has the ball in his hand offensively a lot. So that ends up being the most important player and generally the MVP most years, right? So that like baseball is kind of like the only game, like that stat I think threw out a long time ago, but baseball of all the major sports is the only sport where the defense holds on to the ball the whole game. I mean, unless you're a big cricket guy, that's how it is. Like, the defense has the ball. They dictate how the game goes. And you have to just try to hit it where they ain't type of thing. And basically try to out analytic the other team in terms of strategy and whatnot and all that stuff, which makes the game, I would say, more ripe for parity. But if you buy all the best players, you drown that out a bit. And that's what we're kind of heading toward.
We look at how the World Series went with the Dodgers, and I get it. Like, the Blue Jays are top 5 in spending too. I'm not defending or saying anything about that.
Yeah.
Like, we did get the 2 top 5 payroll teams in the World Series. But when you look at the Dodgers in particular, the players they brought out in Game 7, Blake Snell came out and pitched an inning. Yamamoto pitched an inning. 2 innings, I think, in Game 7. Like, it was ridiculous.
After pitching the night before.
Yeah. So that's kind of my point. Like, if the Reds were in a Game 7 situation like that, would they in extra innings? They played like an 18-inning game, didn't they?
Yeah. Game 4 or 5.
Yeah. So if the Reds were in that situation against, let's just say, I don't know the name of an American League team with a high payroll besides the Yankees.
The Blue Jays, I guess.
Blue Jays, sure. Like, if they were in that situation against the Blue Jays, like, the Blue Jays have the advantage with the players they've acquired compared to the Reds. Like, the Reds would rely on rookies, or Connor Phillips or Brent Suter, like those kind of guys.
Yeah.
And it's just it's crazy, the disparity between once you're beyond a certain threshold of payroll.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to get into this. A big reason why that the NFL can do this, or even the NBA, is their TV deal. A big reason why that the Dodgers and the Yankees can spend money is their local TV deals are super, super lucrative, to say the least. The LA Sportsnet or whatever, Spectrum Sportsnet out there, and then the Yes Network in New York, and that helps. Like, the TV deal that the NFL gets allows them to have 50 something odd of their revenue from Amazon, Fox, and all that. Like, while teams like the Reds, they do get some of that share of that national money, but they just put out recently the NBC Sunday Night Baseball stuff. The Reds are on there 3 times, right? And that's great for the Reds, but the Bengals play on national TV every weekend, and sometimes even in the primetime slots of Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, even when they have terrible seasons. So that revenue sharing that happens in baseball at the national television deal level is not enough. And I know that they got out of their ESPN contract and they're trying to break it up, kind of like how NFL is, by doing streaming and doing different, they're going back to NBC for the Sunday Night Baseball and whatnot. So I think they're trying, if I'm going to give Manfred any credit, to try to get into the game of big time television revenue. But the problem is then the other games that the Reds are not on national TV is on this local, Bally's, Diamond Sports Group type situation. And those companies are going out of business. They're going bankrupt. As the article that I read for you, that you had out there, about the Bally's deal being ripped up, and now basically they're going to go to MLB.TV to do their production of local games. So it's I guess all in all, it's a mess, and hopefully the Reds can salvage something out of this with their probably going to be $19.99 a month for streamers on the MLB.TV, because that's what it was looking for the Diamondbacks last year. But like, what is your take on this whole TV deal debacle?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the issue is I think streaming kind of came on too fast. Like, we're seeing it's not just baseball, like the NBA, it is mainstream sports network now. They bought out Bally, which was Diamond Sports Group, and they licensed FanDuel. So like FanDuel, the sports book is fine. Like everyone's like, oh, is FanDuel down? Like, no, it's they licensed FanDuel. But I included in my article on the TV debacle, I guess. Evan Drellich of The Athletic has been a really like key person to keep up with this on. And Tom Friend of the Sports Business Journal. He reported that I think January they missed the payment for the NBA. I think like the Atlanta Hawks were one of the teams. They missed the payment in December to the St. Louis Cardinals. So like, I think streaming, I think you can blame streaming just because like, I don't think people understand streaming yet as far as like businesses. So like we see with MLB TV, right? They want you to buy MLB TV so you can stream games on your phone or to your TV. But like streaming shouldn't have blackouts. And yet we're still blacking out stuff. Like you're paying to watch baseball, but you can't even watch the teams that you want to watch. So like that's where the local TV companies come in. But then we also have these local TV companies doing streaming also. So you're paying, let's just say you're a fan, like my family, like we're Reds fans, but my dad is from Northern California, born and raised, been an Oakland A's fan most of his life, right? So growing up, if we were to buy the package, we would have, let's just say me growing up was today, right? Just to kind of put context.
Yeah.
If 33-year-old me was 16 in 2026, we would have to pay, was it $30 a month for MLB TV to watch athletic games and $30 a month for FanDuel TV just to watch Reds games. You're paying $60 just to watch the same sport twice. And then that's not even counting if you buy like YouTube TV, which is like $90. And a lot of the YouTube TV channels, like we saw with the whole ESPN debacle and Disney, you know, like they were fighting over that. It's like streaming is cool. It's easy. It's simple, but it's far from being ready. I think it's such a work in progress that it's really affecting businesses like professional sports teams.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's far from being ready. I think it's from all what we've seen in the last couple of years, at least with the streaming deals for baseball, far from being profitable, far from being a sustainable business. Because, like you said, the FanDuel book gambling site is totally fine, but they're probably not wanting to go in on the Reds 2026 season as their affiliate, local sports network, because they ain't making money on that end, and that's the point of business, right? In America, right, is that you're here to make money. I know that obviously, live sports is still like a hugely profitable thing. But the thing about baseball that becomes difficult to sell is that it's every day and there's 30 ball clubs every single day playing, more or less, right?
Yeah.
That's at least 15 games a day, or at most, I should say 15 games a day that you are selling a product to 30 different markets. And that can be difficult because not every market is going to be interested in watching 162. I mean, maybe the hardcores, but that they,
Yeah.
I guess, have found out that that's not profitable because the hands have changed so many times. Diamond Sports Group has gone into bankruptcy. Main Street Sports is what's in charge now, and who knows who's going to take it on next. I mean, the only alternative, which no one will really like because they've done it for the MLS, is like if Apple buys it, because Apple's so profitable that they could just write off these losses left and right and have no problem because they would gain subscriptions to their service. The only thing is, which has happened to the MLS, just as a little side tangent, is that it's exclusivity. You're not able to get people to get to your product if you're only in one place. That's why I'm kind of somewhat praising MLB by ripping up the ESPN deal and trying to parse it up by going to different places and say, hey, do you want this? You know, NBC, do you want this? Like trying to make it accessible by going to multiple different avenues, I guess, having different options. Now, they may be frustrating because I always see and I always laugh at the Drew Garrison tweet about how much it costs to be an NFL fan in 2025 and now 2026 because of all the subscriptions you have to have. But that's kind of the name of the game right now, right? For these companies to be profitable, they're going to ask you to pay. And if you're willing to see the NFL on Netflix, to see the NFL on Prime, to see the NFL on probably Apple at one point, right? You're going to have to pay. There was a prediction a while ago about that the Super Bowl is going to be a pay-per-view event one day.
Oh, yeah.
And that I can see that. You know why? Because everyone wants to watch the Super Bowl. So what do? You turn it around and make it a pay-per-view product because you're going to pay for it, basically, right?
Or they do like the streaming alternative, make it like a YouTube TV exclusive, or you have, because they already have it with the NFL Sunday Ticket.
Yep.
You know, you got to have YouTube TV to watch a Super Bowl, and then you get an influx of like 4 billion people buying YouTube TV, and you know they make their money off of that. Like I had an idea kind of pop up. You know, I'm no business major or nothing like that, but I was thinking about how you mentioned MLS with Apple, right? So like, what if they did something like that for baseball? And so like your normal streaming package is Apple baseball, but then like let's just say how it used to be for baseball, you had Sunday night baseball, Monday night baseball, and Wednesday night baseball, like how the NBA has it for ESPN currently.
Right.
So like you could showcase all of those, like one team. Let's just say Sunday night baseball, you got Dodgers versus the Giants, right? Monday night baseball, you have Red Sox, Yankees. Wednesday night baseball, you got Reds versus Cubs. And then you rotate a different rival or whatever happens to be on the schedule every week as like your prime time event to get these people to go to those streaming sites. But then they're also on traditional cable as well. I don't know how like.
I'd be against the exclusivity factor because we can see in real time the MLS having issues, and it's not coming from the MLS. Get this, Ricky. The deal for MLS is $2 billion over 10 years, so they get $200 million in hand every single year. The people that want to get out from this 10-year deal is Apple, because Apple isn't getting the return on investment that they thought they would get by investing in MLS. That's the fear. Is that there were rumors that Apple was trying to rip up their deal, and on that same token, because they're not getting the subscriptions, that entail kind of indicates to you they're not growing the sport the way they thought. In so much that now this year for 2026 and Apple, you don't need an extra $100 to watch the MLS. It's now, if you have Apple TV, whatever that $7, $8, $12, whatever, $19 a month, now you get MLS for free. Before it was like an add-on to an add-on, like you said, like Sunday Ticket. It was basically like Sunday Ticket for soccer, and everyone was like, "I'm not paying $100. Like, I'll just wait for the game of the week." Like you said, the game of the week that was free, watch that, and if there's some free previews that they would have sometimes, you would do that because, like you said, only the hardcores are really tuning in every single match. So I'd be really if Apple was approaching or MLB was approaching baseball, I'd be kind of scared because especially if it's exclusive rights, right? And even if it's just exclusive rights to like the games that the regional sports networks would get, right? Like the Tuesday 7 p.m. game and the Thursday 12:30 getaway game. If they're only getting those, maybe, but still, I'd still be wary of it. I think, like I said, if anything, there's something to praise about Manfred is ripping up contracts now to get new contracts for TV is the best way to do it, because yesterday's price ain't going to be tomorrow's price. So at very least, they should be getting more money in theory. Now, if the TV, like the TV companies are like, you know what, baseball, you guys aren't that popular anyway. We'll just offer you the low ball deal. Then we're going to be in real trouble as a sport. I don't know. I'm encouraged by the NBC deal. I'm encouraged by ESPN buying up basically the MLB.TV games, even though that's going back to ESPN, which a lot of people have some issues with, and that's fine. Like if
a lot of Dodger games.
Yeah, a lot of oh my gosh. But and then Netflix. Oh yeah, Netflix is going to have opening day and the home run derby.
Yeah.
So like I know it's annoying to say that like you have to have 7 different platforms to watch a sport, which it can be, right? Obviously, like I referenced the Garrison tweet. But if on a business side, if you got multiple outlets who want your product, that might mean that you might make some money off of that, and then they'll make the sport hopefully sustainable long term.
Yeah, no doubt. I just hope that the greater minds prevail and the right deal gets done, because I just don't want to see the death of the sport television wise, just growing up, I'm sure you could kind of relate too, is like Sunday Night Baseball with John Miller and Joe Morgan. It wasn't just the big market teams. It was like the team that was good at that moment, And now it's just like, I think I saw a graphic for last year's Sunday Night Baseball. It was just Yankees, Dodgers, Mets, Phillies. And it's just like, come on. Like,
maybe some Braves.
How are you supposed to grow the game nationally when the only teams that you show are the biggest market teams? And I understand, like, big market sells, but there's 30 teams and you're only showing 4 of them, 5 of them. It's just, I don't like it.
Yeah, no, ESPN definitely fell into a trap of just doing that. For better or for worse, they obviously have to justify their numbers to their bosses and to Disney and whatever. But like, it wasn't good for the sport to just advertise less than, like 10% of the league. You know what I mean? Like that, or less. You got to grow the sport obviously best you can, and which is why they keep throwing the Reds into these big, games like the Speedway, the Field of Dreams game, like that kind of stuff. Like they're trying to get these markets. I would say, whether or not the execution of their ideas is another thing, or whether or not that, having the Reds kind of be irrelevant for the last, 10, 15 years, that hurts obviously growing the sport as well, which is why, again, we kind of always circle back to the CBA, circle back to the talks of potential salary cap or salary floor, because, God forbid you want the Marlins to spend as well if you're going to try to be competitive across the board and not just.
Show always comes back to the Marlins.
Yeah, man. That stat that, what is it? Juan Soto makes $46 million a year for the Mets, and that was the active salary for the Miami Marlins in 2025 was $45 million. So that, talk about disparity, Ricky. There's a big disparity. Like one guy and one team, and they're supposed to compete against each other. It's supposed to be kind of level playing field. I mean, anyway, I don't know. Any other thoughts about this TV deal type situation?
No, just hope it gets resolved.
Yeah, you'd like to think that they can. I mean, I don't know. This is what the commissioner gets paid for, and the people in that offices in New York, they are paid to keep the league relevant, keep the league healthy, keep the league, thriving on whatever TV deals they can do, whatever sponsorship deals, whatever they can do, right? Maybe they should listen to our show a little bit more. Maybe they get some good ideas to implement in the coming years. Or maybe like a Speedway Classic Series, the 3 games, so they don't get rained out on Saturday night, for example. But neither here nor there. But we were talking about poker and gambling earlier, Ricky, and Vegas has put the Reds in a pretty positive, I would say, light as opposed to like Fangraphs and some of those steamer projections kind of go put out every single year. Vegas has put the Reds at 83.5 wins over under. And my first thought was, okay, that's what they did last year. They haven't really changed the team too much. Maybe they're just kind of going off of that. But based on like the projections of the past and how a lot of other, sites have put the Reds at like 77, 76 wins, 78 wins, 83 sounds really positive and sounds like it's an easy bet to possibly put as over for me. What are your thoughts on the Vegas projections?
Yeah, I kind of like the over on that. I think I've said a couple times. I think if we get a bounce back from Matt McClain and Spencer Steer doesn't regress and Ellie doesn't have 2 months of atrocious baseball, they probably win 90 to 92 this year, I think, just based on how their pitching was. And they've improved their bullpen. I stay pretty well. They just signed Pierce Johnson today.
Yep.
Really good reliever from the Braves. They signed Caleb Ferguson, which he was one of the guys that I was really kind of hoping they'd go after. I'm not sleeping on the Michael Toglia signing either. He played college with Matt McClain at UCLA. He was a first-round pick. Obviously, he's got talent. Mm-hmm. Funny enough, his power is more showcased on the road compared to being at Coors. He's got more home runs on the road than he did playing in Colorado.
Huh.
Maybe just because they got that high wall. Maybe the line drives. He's a switch hitter too. I didn't know if you knew that or not. I didn't know that until yesterday.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like there's moves, and I don't know where I've seen it, but I feel like I saw Santiago Espinal still on the roster. MLB.com still has him on there. Granted, he's in Louisville, but I thought he exercised free agency, so I'm confused by that. So we could still see some Santiago Espinal 2-hole in 2026.
Oh gosh.
But
yeah,
Gavin Lux, and it's like I get it. It's not sexy, but Gavin Lux did have the best batting average on the team this past year. And if he could just have a little bit more power, let's just say 10 home runs as opposed to 5, I think he had this year, I think that looks better. And I wouldn't be as upset as him DHing batting 5th. But if let's just say hypothetically we get what we want and the players that we Spencer Steer's first month and a half was absolutely ridiculously bad, and then he was a well above league average hitter the rest of the season. If you have Matt McClain bounce back to around league average, put him a little bit over, let's just say like a 105 OPS plus or a 95 OPS plus, where he's just below league average or just above league average. I don't see why you couldn't see where you have, let's just say, Friedel leading off again, and if Marte can hit the way he hit, have him hit second, Ellie batting third, Spencer Steer batting cleanup, Stevenson batting 5th. Like, I don't see where that's not a good lineup. I like it. It doesn't sound terrible. And if for some reason we can get CES to be the player we think he can be and hit 25, 30 home runs, like put him in the 6 hole, like, man, it's a whole lot better than what we expected. And who's to say that Reese Hines doesn't get regular playing time this year? Will Benson might get some more playing time. Toglia maybe gets called up, plays decent, becomes the first round pick that he was. I could see 83 wins being surpassable. I could see 88 to 89, 90 if Hunter Green and Lodolo were healthy. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, for sure. 83 seems like, or 83.5, 84, whatever you want to call it, seems like it has to be the baseline. And I think they base it mostly on the fact that the team is the same team for the most part, with some changes. Obviously, Nick Martinez is gone and whatnot. According to this, he did elect Santiago Espinal did elect free agency on November 1st. He got outrighted in October 2025, but the logs don't say that he elected free agency. They say other guys elected free agency. But so there's some little tinfoil hat stuff on there that Santiago Espinal is still actually in the org. He's just in the minors at AAA. So he still could be the Reds bench coach if he retires as well, if we got to go down that path. But yeah, the team is the same makeup. It's the same basic core that we've kind of come to expect, with a bunch of bubble guys that we talked about in the last episode that could make it or break it this season in terms of being on this roster, in terms of contributing in a positive way consistently. And that could determine whether they are an 83 win team or 87 win team or 90 win team. You know, it's a lot of ifs, and obviously you can't really depend on ifs, which is why I think a lot of the fan base was kind of upset that we didn't go after the bigger names, didn't really get, into the game in free agency. And from the looks of it, it maybe the front office and Bob Castellini are kind of like, because they knew about the TV deals, I feel like, for a while, or maybe had some inkling or some indication, because that is a big chunk of the revenue. If they're not getting it from Main Street, FanDuel, whatever you want to call them, that contributes to the roster payroll. So like, it ends up being a situation where if they do sign a guy like Schwarber, he has to pay for himself because there ain't no TV money coming in now. So
they would really be relying on fans in the seats.
Yeah. And we laugh at it, obviously, and it's kind of like also just kind of a sad thing also, because we're just laughing at it because we don't want to think about the sad implications of the truth of it, because it is seemingly, as we look at it today, pretty much kind of a true thing. And obviously we kind of hit on this a while ago as well in a couple episodes, that maybe it's just Broccoli Bob's money and none of the other owners are forking up anything to help get free agencies as well, big time free agents as well. So like I don't know. We're in the bargain bin stage of the free agent period of the Reds, and we picked up some good names, and we picked up some others, and we can transition to that topic because you hit on a couple of the names. Caleb Ferguson, one of them, left-hander, right? Unfortunately, the guy that they picked up that was also for depth, what was his name? He just got DFA'd and picked up by he got the waivers.
His name's already escaped me. That's how big of a acquisition he was.
He had a heck of an error. I tweeted on it. That's why I got to look back at it. But also, the Tolia is a very high upside, low risk situation. Even the JJ Bleday, Dane Myers situations are high upside, low risk, which is what the Reds technically go for on a often near every single year. We're saying the same thing in terms of guys like even like a Will Myers or like anybody else of that ilk that are kind of in their like bounce back period of their career, right? So we're definitely kind of trying to get the depth. We're trying to get the depth because I guess we didn't even mention this guy, and let you talk about it a little bit more, Ricky. Your guy is back. The hamster is back on a minor league deal, and I feel like a little bit the Reds org is kind of trolling the fans because they must know, because not only did they sign him to a minor league deal, he's the first guy that I at least heard publicly get a spring training invite from the minor league deal guys. So they must know something, because I was like, this is interesting. I'm trying to still find that guy that was here for Keegan Thompson.
Keegan Thompson, that's right.
Shout out to him being here for about less than a month. And hopefully he's got, hopefully he's going to have a better season out there in Colorado.
Yeah. Maybe. I think Dane Myers hits 15 home runs just because he likes Skyline Chili.
I heard that. Yeah. Yeah, big Skyline Chili guy. I guess he had a coach or whatever from.
Yeah, his high school coach was from Cincinnati, and he was a Reds fan. So they said that when they went to Cincinnati for something, he's like, "Hey, you've got to go to Skyline." And sure enough.
Yeah. Shout out to Greg Kuffner, Reds Daily 4 for that interview. Check that out on his site. Dane Myers opening up, also a man of faith as well. What I learned in that interview, so that's nice.
Yeah. For
Mr. Myers, hopefully he has a good season this year. I will be rooting for him for sure. Any other thoughts on the guys that were just picked up this week? I know we joke about Garrett Hampson, but I feel like that's just kind of a depth piece. I would be not surprised if in a couple weeks he's doesn't make it out of camp, spring training camp. Tolia hopefully is a guy that will make it out of camp and be productive, if not in AAA at the very least. Because there was a commenter that put in Carrick's Facebook page that AAA is going to be awesome with like potentially Benson, Hines, CES, Michael Tolia, Blake Dunn. It's going to be a heck of a team down there in Louisville.
I mean, we're probably going to see Austin Hendrick back down in AA just because there's nowhere to play him.
Yeah, sorry to break the news to you, Ricky, that he's going to have to earn his way into AAA.
He'll just make the major league roster out of spring training. We'll be all right.
Yeah, I didn't see he get his spring training invite yet, so we'll wait on that one. We'll have to have a special show on that. But yeah. Any other guys that jumped out at you, or anything that jumped out at you this week for signings for the Reds?
I guess I don't know if we've already talked about it. I can't remember, but like I don't hate the JJ Bleday signing. I really wanted him a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I really like the defense that Dane Myers provides. He's really quick, puts his body on the line, and he's not that bad of a hitter either. He hasn't had much playing time. I think this past season was the most playing time he's had in his career to this point. And he played well enough to get a farewell social media post from Miami. So he must have been a really good, from what I've seen just from Greg interviewing him, he seems like a very high character guy. And I think that's what Tito's kind of going after, if he has a say in any of these things.
Yeah.
And it could be Crawl, but it just seems like guys, we're not going after problems, I guess, if that makes sense. Divas, like as good as Ellie is, he's not a diva, right? As good as Marte was this past year, he's not a diva. Hunter Green, top 3 pitcher in baseball, not a diva.
Right.
And he's not going out there getting arrested on a Friday night, stuff like that. We're not seeing those kind of signings. And I'm not saying anybody that we haven't gone after is, but you kind of see, with the Jamer Candelario, right? When he was rehabbing and they basically said, hey, would you take an option to AAA? He's like, no. So they DFA'd him. So it's like he wasn't self-aware to realize of how bad he was. And I get it. You played baseball 10 years in the Major League Baseball. You kind of feel like you've earned it. But I don't know. I like the character we're going after. And it seems to be organizational, not just major leagues. People we've talked to, Kunzel, McChrystal, we like them because they're like, they're Christian, the men of faith. We like that, but they're also just genuinely good people. And maybe we're just saying that because they took time out of their day to talk to us. But, I like the direction of the people that we're going after.
Yeah, for sure. That was a big talking point during the David Bell era of having a clubhouse, good guys, good people, good culture and whatnot. That helps. It's certainly, you don't want a bunch of guys going after each other that may have some character issues. Or
David Bell also had Trevor Bauer, Nick Castellanos.
We're talking about like the 22, 23, 24 team. Like
Jesse Winker, Amir Garrett, Yasiel Puig. We could just keep going.
Yeah, you could be right. You're right there. But yeah, now I think obviously Tito probably also wants just baseball guys that want to be here to play baseball. Whatever role they're asked to do, they're going to do it because, he's a guy that isn't very he's not going to be, soft on their feelings. If he needs something from them, obviously he's going to get it. He's going to get it. He's going to tell them. And if he doesn't get what he gets, he's going to get to the next guy kind of thing. Old school approach, like next man up. We're not here to kind of like play the guys that, even like a Candelario, a guy that is making the most money on the team. He's not getting charity playing time or whatever. end up DFAing his butt because he's not helping the team. That's essentially, hopefully, the philosophy at the very least. And a lot of these guys are also probably pretty humble because a lot of them are coming back from, struggling for a bounce back year or what have you. So I would like to think that they're hungry and ready to play and wanting to prove to a Hall of Fame manager that they're worthy of wearing that Reds uniform, because that in itself is kind of like the selling point of playing in Cincinnati. At least I would think it would be to just say, hey, I get to go play for Tito Francona. This guy's won 2,000 games in his career. Like, let's do that. I don't care what it takes to get me there, which, obviously you talked about last show. Justin Turner was in that camp. Maybe we get a spring training invite, minor league deal out of him if he's not signed still. That may be down the road a little bit, but like that's the mentality. We want everyone hands on deck, pulling on the rope the same direction, because they want to make sure that they get this ball club back to prominence, because it's been a while, right? Like, it's been a while. It's obviously you got the 2020 playoff year, but like it's been since 2013, really, if we're going to be like realistic, or 2014 to be realistic, right? Like that's a while. That's 12 years. A lot of baseball players have been, or a lot of baseball fans have been born in that time and never seen the Reds really win a playoff game. So let's get back to those glory days, like you said, the wire-to-wire champions, like Greg Kuffner would say, and let's put on like a good product, right? Like that's the biggest thing, right? A lot of fans can withstand losing if they're putting on a good product of players going out there and playing their butts off, a manager that seems to have a good understanding of what players to use at what time, so you can put out the best competitive team possible. That's all we kind of really ask for, at least me in my old age. That's what I kind of ask for. Every time you go out there, you give your team the best chance to win, to be competitive, no matter if it's against the Blue Jays, the Yankees, or against the lowly Pirates. So, that's all you ask for, really.
Yeah, for sure. And, Santiago Espinal had his place. It just wasn't in a 2-hole.
No. Well, maybe AAA 2-hole, but we'll
I was looking at his splits.
Kind of worried about Francisco Urbáez about that now.
Yeah, so Santiago Espinal, batting 7th, has a 333 average and a 666 OPS.
Hall of Famer at the 7-hole.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's for real?
And that was just last year.
Okay. Yeah. How many bats did you get there? Because I feel like you didn't bat there a lot.
Let's see. Let's see if I can find the at-bat total. At-bats. Batting, what did I say, 7th?
Yeah.
24, which would have been third highest. He had 119 batting second, hit 193 in the 2-hole.
Anyway, okay.
To be fair, Matt McLean only hit like 210.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
Like,
Well, it's this is why Tito's got to listen to our show, because from the jump we thought that we should put Ellie in the 2-hole since opening day. Like, just throw him in there. He's the best hitter. Get the most at bats, and we'll figure it out from there. You could still do the left thing because he's a switch hitter. I don't know if Tito knows that. Maybe
what sucked though with Ellie, he was the only offense for a while. So like everyone's like, yeah, Ellie should have the most at bats. So like I gotta remember the stat correctly, but I remember seeing something about the first 2 hitters got out and then Ellie reached base. And I think the 4-hole hitter would get out, I think. So it's kind of like it wouldn't matter where you hit him because he wasn't going to score much anyway. It wasn't until Austin, like Austin Hayes was hot for a little bit, but then he was hurt. And then he would get hot, and then he would get hurt. Candelario was non-existent. Steer through April was like a 29 OPS plus. Like, it was awful. Like, even McLean, the first, I think, 2 weeks of the season was hitting 300. Like, he was doing good. And then I think he tweaked his hamstring. And that was around the time everything just kind of fell apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of McLean got a raise from his salary. I think even my father-in-law sent me like a text about like he went from like $750,000 a year to what does he end up?
2.5 4 or 5.
Oh, I got 2.3 is what he ended up getting.
Yeah.
But anyway, the arbitration avoiding deals came out this week, leaked out through X, through Mark Feinstein and some other baseball insiders and whatnot. And a majority of the guys that were eligible for arbitration got paid, got pretty much what they were asking for, and maybe a couple exceptions, not so much. And also there's a sad story that Ricky wrote about that Brandon Williamson just missed the Super 2 arbitration. Yeah. And
for
by
his sake.
One day. That's stinks.
Yeah.
So now he's got to go arbitration next year.
If you remember right, McLean debuted on May 16th, I think, or May 15th. And Williamson debuted on the 16th, or the day after McLean debuted. And it just so happens Super 2 falls on McLean Day and not Williamson Day. Which, for the Reds, it's nice because you're not paying somebody who hasn't pitched in a year and a month a significant chunk of your payroll, which, granted, $2 million for the Reds is a significant chunk of their payroll compared to the Mets having to pay a Super 2 to somebody who hasn't pitched in a while. Yeah. But I think hopefully it's sort of a motivating factor for McLean just to be like, I got, we kind of had to, but he got paid, and it's kind of like your first real, like, I'm here kind of moments, getting your first pay raise. Like, I'm sure you felt that at your job. The first time you get a pay raise, you're like, holy crap, like, I like this. This is nice. And then you go back to hating your job. And then you get a pay raise. You're like, oh, I like this. And then you go back to hating your job. Yep. But I don't think unless you're Anthony Rendon, like, you don't hate the job that you do as a professional athlete. Like, you've worked your whole entire life to get there. It's like the ultimate goal. But yeah, it's crazy that one day they just happened to debut those guys back-to-back days. They didn't happen to need to start him the same day they debuted McLean. Like, that's wild to think about.
Yeah, it is a world of difference for how much Williamson's going to make for next year, and McLean obviously on the other side of the token. But yeah, all the other guys that got their arbitration avoided, Brady Singer got about $800,000 more than he got projected for. Lux got about $500,000 more than he was projected for, $5.5 million for Lux. Brady Singer had $12.75 million for the 1-year deal. Sam Moll, I think this one got announced a while ago or something. Like, there was something where, like, he got a bunch of incentives built into his contract.
Yeah,
that could be bigger, but I think, like, the base is like $875,000 for 2026 for Moll, if I'm reading that right.
I think it's $875,000 up to like 1.4.
Yeah,
I think,
with incentives and whatnot. Yeah. It's perfect for a guy like Moll because of the fact that it seemed like he missed the mark last year, and you gotta have some sort of external factor for him to get going, because hopefully he has the bounce back year from 2025. Lodolo got paid about $450,000 more than he was projected. He got $4.75 million. Friedel was the big one that, I didn't even text you about. I was like, he was projected to get 4.9. It's coming off like a, almost career high, or at least close to career high, 152 games.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like you I think you said back to me, it's because of his age. He's 30. Going into arbitration.
I think because people were comparing him and Steer, and I think most would probably agree that Friedel's the better player right now. Just overall body of work, I guess.
Yeah.
It's close. They're really similar players. Just, I think Friedel's defense sets him apart from Steer, but Steer being 27 and Friedel being almost 31 kind of plays a hand in that. Yeah.
So Friedel got $3.8 million for his arbitration 1-year deal. It was projected 4.9, but same thing with Steer though. He was projected.
He took less,
4.5, and he only got $4 million. Benson got a little bit more than he was projected. He got $1.725 million, and was projected to get $1.7 million. Then Tion got less. He was supposed to be 2.4, but only got 1.8. Coming off a career year, that's, I don't know.
80 games. He pitched almost half a season.
Yeah, I feel like he got a little short change, but maybe he's just taking what he could get and doesn't want to fight it out in the arbitration court or whatever. And yeah, we talk about McLean and Williamson and whatnot. The two guys that did not get their money and are going to arbitration later this month, I believe. Ty Steve, as we kind of alluded to, and Graham Ashcraft, your guy Graham Ashcraft, it was asking for, what was he asking for? 1.75?
Yeah. So what made me laugh about this, the total amount of money between both players where their discrepancy was less than $1 million combined.
Yeah.
Stevenson's was like $400,000, $600,000, and Ashcraft was less than $300,000. So it was like $750,000 or $800,000 between the two of them, and they couldn't agree. Like, I get it, Stevenson. I just give it to him, like, just what are we? Well, why are we? If we're fighting over that, then there's not a chance of an extension. I feel like
You're saying it. Yeah.
I think I put that in my article about it. I said there hasn't been much noise about an extension with Stevenson. To hear that they cannot agree on a deal to avoid arbitration doesn't surprise me. He showed improvement defensively and in pitch framing. He hit 13 home runs. I know this is his final year of arbitration. Like, this is it. They're either going to give him what he wants in the hearing, or they're going to sign him long term. I feel like it's going to be one or the other.
Well, yeah, that was the thing I brought up earlier in the show. There were a bit of ugly arbitration hearings for Sims in 21 and Gino Suarez in 18. The Reds won the case in 2018 against Suarez, but then they extended him. Yeah. I don't know if that's the future for Ty Steve. Based on my hunch and just obviously what we talked about catchers just a little bit ago, I don't know. I don't see it. It'd have to be on a really team-friendly deal, right?
Yeah, or short term.
Yeah, like 3 years or something like that. That would be my guess. But maybe he doesn't want that deal either. Maybe
Suarez got 7 years, didn't he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Granted, third baseman, shortstop, tons of power. Sadly, he had 2 of the worst years of his career right after the extension. It sucks, but they could right the ship and sign him right now.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Obviously, he'd probably be the Schwarber full-time DH unless Ke'Bryan Hayes needs a rest. But I don't know. Yeah, 7 years, $66 million was Suarez's deal back in 2018. So maybe I don't know. I think Stevenson's fighting for this money, like you said, because he may see the writing on the wall. He may see this might be the last year as a Red. So he's trying to get all he can and try to get what he's worth.
Yeah, because I was thinking while you were talking about the salary cap issues and the CBA coming up.
Yeah.
So let's just say they are waiting for that. And what happens is they just basically keep it the way it's been, the status quo, right? Then he becomes a free agent. And a team that needs a catcher and can spend some money just says, hey, we'll give you 6 years, $85 million or whatever.
Sure.
The Reds aren't going to match that. Like, it's just not going to happen.
No, that's why
he'd be the perfect JT Real Muto replacement next year for the Phillies. Like, I could see that. Or, let's just say they decide to move Cal Raleigh to DH full time after next year, and then you just bring in Stevenson to be your 29-year-old catcher that you can take the load off of a 60 home run guy and bring in a 25 home run guy.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I do think they're playing out the string. They're probably doing it not just for him, right? Like, we could probably look at some other guys that are their last year control is this year as well for the Reds and other teams as well. I would imagine. I don't know. I haven't heard any real big extension stuff. Obviously, Bregman got a big contract from the Cubs recently, but that's, I think he opted out of his deal and whatnot in thinking, was it Boston? So it is what it is there. I'm talking about like inner team extensions. I'll have to look that up and see what ended up happening. I know your Sacramento A's did a bunch because of the whole deal they had to make sure that they would be okay to move into Las Vegas sometime down the road and whatnot,
Yeah.
extending certain guys like Severino and whatnot.
Swordstrom.
Yeah, that was this year, right? Okay, so there's
Yeah.
one. But yeah, it is what it is with Stevenson. I feel they probably want to see him prove it. They want to see him have a career year, to say the least. I think, you know what I mean. Like if he hits 25 home runs and 80 RBIs, maybe there is an extension coming down the road. You know what I mean? I don't know if he gets it off the year he had in 2025. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, he's just running out of time to do it as a Red.
We want to talk about who we want to talk about next. Friedel or your boy Ashcraft?
Yeah, we can talk about Friedel.
The Friedel thing confuses me a bit. I think that you're right. There may be some ageism going on with TJ Friedel in terms of like they don't value him as much as the projections put out there. At the same time, he had one of his better years in a long time, and maybe they're kind of factoring also injuries as well. They're not just looking at just last year, looking at maybe the last 3 years and projecting out to see what a TJ Friedel looks like in 2029 or whatever, you know, and figure out what he's doing. But I thought he would have got a little bit more. You know, maybe that's just the Reds being cheap and saving some money wherever they can by lowballing somebody and basically daring TJ Friedel to say, hey, do you really want to go in an arbitration case against us, you know, later this month? Or do you just want to take your 3.8 and we'll shake hands and move on? What are your thoughts with TJ?
Yeah, so I just pulled up Baseball Reference, and I don't feel as bad comparing him and Steer at all.
Really?
Or saying Friedel's the better player, which it's close. And looking at Baseball Reference is very close. So, and they've played basically the same amount of time. Friedel came up in 21. Steer came up in 22. Age 25 to 29, age 24 to 27. So it's not. Friedel's played in 461 games. Steer's played in 488 games. So it's really close in the amount of time they played.
Okay.
Steer is a 5.1 career WAR. Friedel's 6.8. Granted, center field, you're going to a little bit more pull. And then hits, Friedel's got 9 less hits than Steer. He's only got 12 fewer home runs than Steer.
Okay.
And he's got more stolen bases, a higher batting average, a higher on base. Slugging's only 7 points lower than Steer. He's got a higher OPS and a higher OPS plus. So Steer is a 101 OPS plus. Friedel's a 104. So they're really similar players. I didn't realize how similar they were before I just blabbered it out there.
Yeah, you're right about the WAR thing. I think center fielders get a little more defensive WAR bump than corner guys, and even though that Steer had a
second base, third base,
yeah,
first base, left field.
I was just talking about the Gold Glove nomination. He made the top 3 for first base, so I would think that he maybe have a little bit higher WAR than 5.1 career, but maybe that's just last year. You know, he played mostly corner outfield and, like you said, utility everywhere else in 24 and 23. But yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just my Reds fandom valuing a guy more than maybe the organization does, because they got Hector Rodriguez now on the 40-man. You know, I'm not saying that's and then they also signed Dave Myers, right? Like maybe I'm in a situation where I'm valuing TJ a little more than maybe, you know, Nick Kroll does. And you heard the comment earlier in the Hot Stove interview. I forget, it was Tito that said it, that he played too many games, 152 games. Like, it sounds like they're saying that he's gonna be a guy that they're gonna platoon maybe a little bit more and not play every day and be the leadoff hitter every day. That's what at least I'm kind of picking up what they're putting down. And you know, we've even talked about it. Will Benson can play center too, at least at Great American ballpark. That's kind of a thing. I don't know if they'll do it. We'll see. It seems like Dave Myers will be that defensive center field backup to TJ, and if he has a good season, he could spell TJ for more time than just, you know, every now and then.
So let me ask you this: with the acquisitions we've made with Myers and Blade and Friedel, If he's not locked down center field, he's going to be your left fielder. If you're going to play Blade and Dane Myers in center, just being younger players, you want to take less risk for Friedel, even though I love Friedel's defense in center field. Do you do you entertain the idea of trying to trade Spencer Steer now, getting the most value you can for him, being that he has had seasons close to 100 RBIs, 20, 25 home runs? And I get it. It's kind of like addition by subtraction or subtraction by addition, however you want to look at it. It's like you hate to get rid of a guy that could hit 25 home runs, but if you could package him with another player you're going to lose, let's just say Brady Singer, and you can package the two together and get a decent, controllable player, and then you can play Sal Stewart every day at first base and just let the kid play. And then you sign a guy like Suarez and put him as your DH and your backup third baseman.
I think the organization values Steer.
I do too.
Over even a Friedel. So like the scenarios I was kind of throwing around in my head was like, if the Reds are really struggling this year, if they're nowhere near 83 wins, going into the All-Star break, into the trade deadline, yeah, maybe you get the most value for Steer because he's on the older end of his, controllable years. So maybe that's valuable to someone because he's seasoned, but he still has a couple more years of control than most players at 27. I was thinking more Friedel's the guy to go. Like I mentioned, Hector Rodriguez. If Hector Rodriguez turns out to be the player that we like, that we see, he's not just in AAA working on his craft, but is major league ready-ish or close, where he can be the backup to Dane Myers. I think TJ's gone because a 30-year-old on the other side, you're not going to get much from him, obviously. I'm not saying that we're going to unload TJ Friedel and get a bunch of great prospects back.
Yeah.
But it could be a situation where you just kind of get him off the books like Alexis Diaz, right? Like maybe they see something that we don't see, that he's going to be on the downturn of his career. Like maybe last year was peak TJ, right? Robbing home runs, pulling the ball at a weird rate, playing 152 games. Maybe that's like the apex. That's the top of TJ we're going to see as a Red. So maybe you try to get rid of him before it becomes super apparent that he's, they say in England, down tooling, or he's on the decline. So I think it would be more than getting rid of Steer. They see Steer as such a utility guy. They could play him all over, and I think they really like Spencer Steer at first base, even though that us Sal Stewart stands here are going to want to see Sal Stewart in the lineup wherever you can put him, even if that means second base for all we can do, or third base to get rid of Ke'Bryan Hayes. Like Carrick always wants to trade him every single week. We'll see. The opening day roster will be interesting. When we do our opening day roster, it'll be interesting to see where we're at. Yeah. It may be different than where we are right now on January 11th, but right now I think we kind of know what this team is. Like you said, it's more or less the same team with a bunch of guys we're banking on bouncing back and having either career years or just having average to above average years, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could see hypothetically a trade of a Friedel or Steer with two relatively high prospects for a hitter. And I'm not saying Luis Robert. I think that ship sailed. I think they want too much for him. And I think we've talked about it. I think I've said, I think Carrick pops in right there. Trade Hayes.
I said trade Ke'Bryan Hayes, and then Carrick heard me from wherever he was in the world. He popped up because I was just talking about trading Ke'Bryan Hayes. Carrick.
Hey, you know what though? He's under control for like 3 more years after 26. I think he's under control through 30.
Yeah.
If he puts together a season where he's close to a league average hitter, I say you move him. You hit while the iron's hot, and if he turns into Nolan Arenado in the future and goes out and hits 25 home runs wherever he goes, you bite the bullet. But I think you could get something decent based off of his defense alone.
Brenton Doyle, send him to Colorado.
Whew, I would love that.
Yeah, so would I. And we're trying to find any trade to get Brenton Doyle. If he watches
I mean, you want some peanuts?
We want I don't know what's the like royalty? What does Cincinnati royalty get around?
Grater's ice cream.
Lifetime contract to Grater's ice cream.
Yeah. We'll give you 100 bags of Grippo's barbecue chips a year plus a lifetime supply of Grater's ice cream. Hey, if I ever got that contract, I'd be a happy man.
Plug and hopefully maybe they could be a sponsor one day down the road. I want to plug a Cincinnati company that I not know much about, but Wolbers. You ever hear them? They're always a sponsor on, I think, the Reds on the radio.
Okay.
Their mustard.
The mustard, yeah.
Awesome. And I've got jalapeno mustard. And I got that. I got it for Christmas from my father-in-law. It's awesome. So shout out to Wolbers. We'll try to get you as a sponsor. It's great. I'm not saying that needs to be like the new sponsorship deal instead of La Rosa's or anything like that, but Wolbers is awesome. Shout out to them and their jalapeno mustard.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for Grippo's, man. I buy the Grippo's seasoning bottles. We made pizzas today, and I put some of that on my pizza. It is so good. If there's two things, we're off the rails here.
Yeah.
If there's two things, when we go to Arizona, if we're gonna bring things for players to try from Cincinnati, it's you can't really make them a Skyline chili because you don't know where you're gonna meet them.
Yeah.
You can give them a can, I guess, and just say, "Hey, go buy some spaghetti." But you're gonna try Grippo's barbecue chips or the other flavors too. I don't know if you've had the other flavors or not. They got salt and vinegar is really good.
Really?
Their plain chips are really good. They have a some kind of Maui onion flavor. It's really good. I'm a sucker for Grippo's. It's part of me.
Yeah. Shout out to Cincinnati.
Shout out Grippo's.
Well, yeah.
Free out of the day.
I don't know if we want to get back to the arbitration talk or whatnot in there, or get some hot takes off if you're ready for that at all. There is one comment, Carrick's chiming in about trading one of the catchers. We did not talk about that. Yeah, the trading of Tyler Stevenson's a possibility.
I can see that for sure.
Or trying to figure out what Rotefeld's going to be, like in this organization, because they traded for him, right? Like it wasn't like they picked him up off the cheap pile. So a trading of a Tyler Stevenson this year could be. I mean,
yeah, and out of all the players they've signed and DFA'd and re-signed and DFA'd, Rotefeldt wasn't one of them. They got rid of Banfield. They DFA'd him. Did he come back on a minor league deal, or is he okay? They brought in Keegan Thompson. They DFA'd him. They brought in the pitcher from the Cardinals, Jose.
Oh, that was Munoz. Something.
Rodri Munoz, yeah. So they bring him in, DFA him. Like the one player they haven't touched is Rotefeldt. Like I do find that weird, and like Carrick says, he would 100% be cleared.
Yeah.
Sure, I mean that's why I find it odd that they're not.
Yeah, I mean, there was Spires too, right? Spires got outrighted, and then they signed him back to a minor league deal as well. So he said he'd be claimed. Maybe they're protecting him, because they think he'd be a hot commodity as a catcher.
Yeah, but Banfield, I thought he could have been claimed too, just based off his power projections. Like, I get it. Like, I think he kind of got the raw end of the deal, getting called up and getting one at bat, one game or whatever it was. But
it's called the Reese or the Will Benson special.
Reese Hines, man, that guy has not had a fair shot. At least Benson got a year. He got one full season of playing time. I guess if you want to do hot takes, I think I'm going to stand by what I've been saying this whole offseason. I could see one of, if not both, if it happens, Stevenson and Lodolo, or I'll put the or in there too. getting moved. Only because Stevenson, this is his last year under control, and Lodolo, you got one more year. And if Lodolo pitches the way he pitched this year, his arbitration number is going to be a lot higher next year. You're looking at probably like 9. If Singer got 12 in his third year, I can see one of those two get moved. And I guess another thing is too, kind of the Tarek Skubal situation where he requested like $32 million and the Tigers offered him 19, which is the biggest discrepancy in arbitration in history of arbitration. What is Ellie's going to look like in his last year of arbitration if he reaches it with the Reds?
What's it going to look like in his first year?
Yeah.
It might look like that his first year, if I may presume. I don't even know. Like you were talking about the Vladdy Guerrero before he got extended had 1 year of arbitration that was $25 million. And that's like a couple years ago, right? Like that wasn't that far.
2023, I think, or 4.
Yeah, I mean, 2027 is next year, and we're going to be looking at probably a $30 million number, I would say, for Ellie. At least that's what.
Yeah, we're looking at his first arbitration year this offseason coming up.
That's going to be.
There's going to be a lot of key guys on that.
Well, that you said there's not going to be a work stoppage. I think they'll lock him out the first day of that December 1st, 2026, because I think they're just going to try to put the screws to the players' union to try to say, hey, we got to make a deal. Make a deal. You know what I mean? Put all the pressure on the players to fold.
all of these guys are going to be arbitration eligible next year. And this is including guys that are still arbitration eligible this year. Ellie, Marte, McLean, Lodolo, Abbott, Williamson, CES, Will Benson, I think. Yeah. Steer, Friedel. I mean, you're looking at like 11 players, all arbitration. So
they're saving their money now.
There's going to be moves. There's going to be something. Something has to happen for it to work, because they're not going to arbitrate everybody, and not everybody's going to get their number. Because if Marte develops and Ellie trajects the way we see him trajecting, like there's going to be some very high numbers in arbitration.
Yes, in there too.
He'll be in there, I think. He's in there.
He's so late in August or July. Is that too late?
I'm not sure. He would be in the same camp as Williamson because he was post McLean.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, but you're right. Like 11 plus guys you're making decisions on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're not paid the big bucks to do that, Ricky. We're here just to talk about it.
We're here to talk about it.
I do agree with you. I think the list of potential trade people for me is growing and growing and growing. Obviously, the more and more I talk to Carrick, I'm getting on board with like the Hayes thing, especially if he's a below average hitter. Singer is on that potential trade. Ty Steve. I put Gavin Lux in there too. Like if Tyler Callahan can be Gavin Lux 2.0 or Gavin Lux Jr., then there's no need for Gavin Lux, right?
Especially not at $7 or $8 million.
Exactly. Lodolo, throw in potentially Steer, but I think they like him too much. I mean, they let him play half a season hurt in the outfield and at DH and had no problems with it. So I feel like he's one of those McLean protected class Reds. But yeah, anybody else can get it basically because they're basically in a situation where obviously this roster is going to get expensive because it's a pretty talented class. Like I call it the class of 2023, right? CES in there as well with even Benson is in that class of people that joined the Reds in 23. Like if they're successful in this year, they just become that much more expensive this time next year in 2027. So
yeah,
the decision's got to be made. We've got a decent farm system. The Baseball Prospectus says that we have
top 5
underrated farm system. We did you see the other voting of like the GMs that were polled? They said that they had a question like which organization hoards the most prospects, and there was a winner by far and away. It was the Cleveland Guardians. They got 40% of the vote. I'm like, what? Like, what is this? Like, it seems like they're trying to like smear the Guardians.
I wonder how many times Nick Kroll voted.
Every time, like early and often. Like, it was just a really weird, like, skewed vote. But anyway, yeah, they say the Reds system's pretty undervalued. Like I said, I think we're trying to bridge the gap from the 2023 class to the 2027 Alfredo Janot class, right? What we do with that in terms of keeping the team competitive, adding players, basically making the depth enough so that we can survive 162. Can't have enough pitching. All those phrases, all that stuff. Like, it turns out to be an interesting 2026 season, and I don't know. I think we've got the guys. I think we have enough guys that will be, at least a competitive team. But there's so many guys that are coming up. Like I'm happy that Hector Rodriguez is getting his shot at the Dominican League and is getting his shot by being added to the 40-man roster. Gives him a chance to be called up that much sooner, and hopefully that day, maybe it's 2026, late, early, wherever it ends up being, we'll see. But Francisco Arbaez, I guess that's my hot take as well. Is that we got to get him up. We got to get him playing as well, especially if Santiago Espinal is lurking around there in Louisville. We'll have to do that. Oh,
it's
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I guess if you don't have anything else, I know you said you have a hard out at around 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
We could shout out Battle Bites real quick.
I
think we forgot to do that. Use code All Gloves Off 10 for 10% off your order. Battle Bites is a jerky company. They're kind of a startup company similar to us with All Gloves Off. They donate 10% of every order to the Wounded Warrior Project. So that's I support that full-heartedly.
sure.
And I'm a big fan of jerky. So they're high protein. I think they said they have like around 12 grams per package. So yeah, if you're into jerky, help them and help us out by doing that as well, by using the code All Gloves Off 10 at fuelyourbattle.com.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. A little bit shorter show, a little bit just of stuff we ran through with the news and all that, but please like, comment, and subscribe. Red Hot Reds YouTube, Red Hot Reds X. I think Ricky's even working on a Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Working on some things behind the scenes for you. I'm going to be going out to Reds Fest, so look out for some stuff getting posted out there about that. Hopefully some nice videos or pictures, at least, with some of the guys out there at Reds Fest. It should be a good time. Hopefully a Reds party, as I like to call it. So
yeah.
And we'll be back here next Sunday to recap all that and everything else. And hopefully we'll have some more news to talk about, some positive news. At least, hey, no Nick Kroll quotes this week. That's been 2026 has been pretty crawl free. I don't know if you know this. Maybe I'm not.
What'll be 11 days in?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't take that long for Nick Kroll to open his mouth and say something dumb. But maybe he'll say something at Reds Fest. It'll get everyone going. But
and I guess if you made it this far into the show, I guess we can go ahead and just say it. If you tune in this week, Keen Vu interview.
Yes, a hot prospect at Daytona Tortugas out of Arizona State, right?
Yes.
Sun Devils, is that what they're?
I think it's Arizona State. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out that. I'll try to make sure I get that right. But yeah, tune into that Tuesday. We'll be recording it and probably dropping it Wednesday sometime. So yeah, please like and subscribe to that. We really appreciate everyone that's been supporting us, and we're going to keep going and keep doing this, and hopefully we get some more interviews down the road.
Yeah, it's all part of the experience. It's a blast, man.
Yeah, we're no professionals here. We're just trying to do
having a good time.
So, we're trying to do Reds content for you and try to get our takes off our chest so we're not, annoying our family members about it.
Yeah, and my wife would probably leave me if I had to talk to her the way I talk to you on the internet. So
hey, it happens. It happens. But yeah, if you got nothing else, Ricky, let's do our sign off. We really appreciate you tuning in. Go Reds.
Go Reds.